When I finished my sermon and came to a close, I turned to the pastor and I said, now I'm going to line the sick up and pray for them. He said, what do you mean? He said, just get up there and pray for them in a prayer. I said, no, I don't pray like that. I said, I pray like the Bible. The Bible said, anoint them with oil, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise them up. I said, I want to line them up and lay hands on them. But he said, you can't do that. I said, this is Cairo, Egypt. And he said, you can't do it. He said, I'll tell you, I know a place where you can do it tonight. But he said, don't do it in my church. He said, it'll disturb the whole service. And I said, well, it won't disturb anything. I said, it may cause the devil to be disturbed, but I said, people will be healed. Well, he said, there's such a crowd here, you couldn't get a healing line for them. He said, look at all the people sitting in the aisles. So I agreed to wait till that night and turned around and sit down, and they began to pass a little baby about 2.5 years old over the heads of the congregation. Finally, they sit it in one preacher's lap, and in turn he sit it in another, until that little baby wound up in my lap. And I turned to my interpreter and I said, what did they put this baby in my lap for? He said, they heard you say that Jesus could heal. This child has never walked, and they want to see you make it walk. I thought, oh God, I preached your word, and I believe your word, and I believe you'll do exactly what you said you'd do.